Hi, everybody. Sandi Maki here. In the first of what I am thinking will be many podcast type shows or experiences, sometimes when I'm having a bunch of really great and awesome thoughts, it almost feels like work to sit down in front of the computer to try to blog about it, pick it up, figure out what's going on. And sometimes you have to slow your mind down almost to run the thoughts through your processing so that you can type them out instead of think them. So the other day I was reading a really fantastic book, which will be the source of inspiration for my very next little chat. So I won't give that away. But I got done reading the book, and like so many other books, there was so many great ideas. And I think the difference with this book is the message was so concise. There were so many brief points to ponder that it really helped to create some laser focus in the thoughts that were really going through my head. You know, there's so many things that I am inspired by and want to learn about. I've done all kinds of exploration exercises, personality studies, face reading, social media, its psychological impact on people, how to influence through marketing efforts people that we'd like to have know about us. So I am just a student of things that are fantastic. And one of the things I've been pondering for myself is what would be next? What's the next thing that would really get me excited, really challenge me, kind of get my creativity going? Because there's so many things that, yeah, you can have a great idea, and then you go to implement it, doing it day after day after day, and it somehow just doesn't seem quite as fun as it did when you first had the idea. So I've been pondering, what is it that could really get my creativity going or keep me inspired while being able to share what I hope are going to be some pretty interesting things with you. So as a result of reading that book, I decided that my next thing is going to be maybe random musings about things that I find fun and interesting, or book reviews, or discussions with people that I really find fascinating and help to get my creativity going and make me feel inspired. So instead of bringing those all to you just in written form, or maybe sometimes in video form, I think we'll just talk. I'll share a little bit, bring in some guests, ask for your opinions and your feedback, and if nobody pays attention to it, that's okay because I'll still be having fun. Bottom line is, when you're having fun with what you're doing, and you would do it whether anybody paid attention to you or not, that's when you know that you're doing one of those things that you need to keep on doing. When we try to invent things for someone else or make ourselves interesting just for someone else's benefit, and by someone I mean, perhaps any of the audience that we would try to be marketing to, when we try to manufacture it, it's always, always like pushing a heavy boulder uphill. So why not stand on the top of the mountain, decide which way you would have the most fun going down, and start there? I think that's what I'm doing. That's where I'm starting. It's a little bit intimidating. Of course, I didn't necessarily want to hit record on this first podcast today. I wanted to make sure that I had my, first discussion partner lined up, and we got into it with a really good book. And I was sitting here reconnecting with some people on Facebook, and I use the word reconnecting because I haven't been communicating with them maybe in the past week or weeks, as I've been really focused on doing some other things and working a lot, although for me working a lot might include working until 11:49 p.m., which is what time it is now. And I had the thought a few minutes ago, I just wish that I didn't become so inspired at 11 o'clock at night sometimes. Although I wouldn't say that I'm really a highly inspired morning person, I get some of my best inspiration when we're heading toward midnight. So I guess we'll take it whenever it comes up, but I also have a really early morning mastermind meeting in the morning, which I absolutely love to go to, and I'm sure I will bounce awake in the morning and be able to make it there on time and completely inspired. But I would also like the ability sometimes, like today, when I'm having some really, really great creativity sparks happening, just be able to run with it and not worry about maybe some of that social dream stuff about, getting however many hours of sleep they recommend that you get these days, because that's kind of irrelevant. If you're inspired and if there's something that is encouraging you to get out of bed every day, then you will. And it really won't matter how many hours of sleep you had the night before. And on the same token, even if you get all the sleep that you could possibly need and then some, if you're not inspired, then you don't necessarily have that drive or that reason to get out of bed in the morning. I don't know, something to ponder. So I was reconnecting with somebody on Facebook that I haven't been in touch with in a very, short while, relatively speaking, since we are so connected via the social media circuits these days. So I was reconnecting and reading some things, and then it was getting me all excited to be all inspired again. Just because when you can have conversations with people that inspire you, and you can comment back and forth, that inspiration does go both ways. So I've been inspired and I've felt inspiring, and sometimes that's where the reward comes from as well. Talking about inspiring, we've started something new with the Insights group. We've got a college age mastermind group going. And I use the term college age, although someone need not be in college to be a part of the mastermind or to be brilliant or on track with exactly what they're supposed to be doing with their lives. I guess what I'm referring to is the generation that has come out of high school recently and is trying to figure out what's next for each of them. So we do have this group going. The initial members that were invited each came about in their own unique way. One of them is one of my very favorite people. She came on board working as basically my assistant this summer. Completely blew me away. Talk about someone, me, who has challenges with maybe delegating or kind of giving the Cliff Notes version of instructions and hoping for the best. Well, Jessie, my wonderful and amazing capable assistant, came on board, and it was the right fit, absolutely, for us to be able to work together because she could take anything and run with it. She is so witty and inspiring that you just can't help but have a lot of fun and feel that there's something special going on inside of her when you're chatting with her. So she was invited to the group and has since started her own blog and is creating a lot of really awesome ideas for her future. So kudos to her. That's one of our younger members who were invited to the group. Another gentleman I had the pleasure of sitting next to on a plane ride back from JFK Airport in New York. I was on my way back from my trip to Ireland, and he happened to be on his way back from a study abroad experience. He was coming back from Istanbul. So we struck up a conversation, as seatmates sometimes do. And I'm not sure what the very first thing was that brought it up. Maybe it was I asked him, if he was headed back home, and he said yes, that the Detroit area is where he was from. And I said, okay, what are you doing? And he was talking about school, that he is in film in college. And I was pondering what film meant because everything is digital now. So apparently it's film, but we could call it digital media. So we started talking about some of the groups I'm networked into in the Detroit area, some of the really cool people that I know from advertising agencies, and just kind of the movers and shakers who have inspired thought and new ideas. So I was telling him about several people that he could look up. We got into a discussion about books and authors, what to do when planning a new business. And just through this conversation with Robbie, it seemed like he got it. He got the concept of having bigger ideas and exploring new things. When I had asked him the question if he had ever heard of masterminding, he gave the perfect response, which was, no, I haven't, but I think I should. So right there was a pretty clear indication that the window or the door or the portal was wide open, and he was looking for something. So Robbie got an invitation. He has also since started a blog. I think it took him a long time to hit publish on that first one. Once he did, though, it was just amazing. So stay tuned because their stories are fantastic. One of the other people who was invited to the very first meeting is somebody who has been a part of some of our mastermind groups here with Insights in the past, and they weren't specifically college focused, they were philosophy based. That was back when we had a good friend of ours, Tom, in the groups as well. Tom, who we refer to as the Buddha. So, Katie brings a very interesting philosophical exploration to everything that she does. She was also at one of our first meetings, and I know she is enjoying exploring the world and kind of making her own path in life. And I believe will also serve to be an inspiration for others when status quo or when social dream tells you, well, this is the way that you're supposed to do things. It's the people that are able to move past that in their own lives that can act as beacons of inspiration for others. So, Katie, who spent a year traveling around Europe, exploring life and developing a new appreciation for all kinds of new and interesting things and being empowered to do what you want in your life because that's why we're here. I think she'll serve to be an inspiration for a lot of people. And coincidentally, she also has her own blog, which I know gets some posts from time to time, but I think the rest of the time she's busy living. So we'll catch up with her as she starts to summarize some of those thoughts. In the group as well, we of course have a few of us that I wouldn't put necessarily in the college age crowd, but people that are in our lives who are seeking new things, inspired by new ideas, and really like to get into some of those really cool and crazy conversations that help to reframe things, put them in a new perspective, and I would hope encourage people to think outside of any perceived limitations that they would have. Because that's all we have. Any limitation that you would think that you have in your life, any limitation that I think I have in my life, it's all a matter of perspective. It's all perception. There's not a computer in the sky keeping track of, which track are you on this time and are you accomplishing everything that you're supposed to? Are you checking things off your list? There's nothing that says that you have to do things this way or you shouldn't do things that way. It's just a perception and the way that our life comes together from all of the influences, whether it is internal influences, the way we think and the way we feel about things in our environment and about ourselves, or if they're external factors, if they're things that society or culture, friends and family help craft into our lives. Everything, every thought that we think is based on a matter of that perception. So the best thing that you can possibly do is challenge your own perceptions, challenge your own perspective, and maybe challenge is too strong a word. Maybe it's simply observe. Observe your perspective. Realize when those perspectives are influencing your thoughts and your decisions, and then make the conscious choice to choose your own path. Don't just go with the default. Explore and really create your own reality because it can be just as wonderful as you'd like it to be, or it can be just as hard and as much of a struggle as you'd like it to be. It's all a matter of perspective. So, in inspiring myself, I'll be putting together a podcast series and hoping to inspire others. If you are interested, please stay tuned. I would love to keep chatting with you. I would also encourage a lot of feedback when something comes up that you have a new opinion on, something maybe that you agree or disagree. It would be great to hear from you. Or if you just have something, remotely new, interesting, or exciting to share, I'd love to hear that as well. So, until next time, thanks for tuning in this time and listening. I will be bringing you a really cool discussion on a bunch of concepts from a new book coming up soon in the next podcast, recording, voiceover, whatever we're calling it. So stay tuned for that. I look forward to exploring the possibilities with you. This is Sandi. Make it a good one.